Speaking of the Texans, there's a lot of drama in that organization right now, and it's not just about the coaching hires. Well, it is a little bit about the coaching hires, but part of it is their star quarterback, Deshaun Watson, who reportedly is getting very upset with the Texans organization. There's been rumors going around about a potential Deshaun Watson trade to several different teams. He wants out of Houston. He quoted on Twitter that his anger level was at a 2 and he took it to a 10 due to, first, Bill O'Brien trading away DeAndre Hopkins, who's one of the best receivers in the NFL, for David Johnson and a second-round pick. And now they weren't hiring the guys he wanted to hire. He didn't have the say in the things he wanted to have the say in. So there's just kind of been an anger with Deshaun Watson building up. He's not happy. They're not winning. It's a bad organization. And so teams, now there's been a growing sense in the league that Deshaun Watson isn't going to be a Houston Texan next year, and he's going to be traded to another team. He's going to be out of Houston. And so me and Evan today are going to be looking at the teams that we think are the best places for a guy like Deshaun Watson to go. And I think the first place that we're going to talk about is the where all the buzz is going on in the past couple of days. It's the New York Jets. And Evan, do you have your thoughts on what about the Jets as a suitor for Deshaun Watson?
So we know that Deshaun Watson is extremely valuable. If Laramie Tunsil is worth 2 first-round picks, just imagine how many first-round picks Deshaun Watson's worth. Probably 14. And the Jets have the ammunition to go and get Deshaun Watson. They have a ton of draft picks. They have Sam Darnold if you want him, I guess. They have some nice young players, but a lot of draft picks. But if Deshaun Watson did go to the Jets, and they gave up some draft picks to get him, that's not a playoff team. The same problems that Deshaun Watson had in Houston with not a great wide receiver core by the end of the year. Horrible offensive line. Horrible defense. Just getting burnt alive. Those same problems are also in New York. But I do like what Joe Douglas is building there and Robert Saleh, as we talked about before. So that's more of a long-term destination. That's not a get Deshaun Watson and you're playing in the Super Bowl next year. That's get Deshaun Watson, build a little bit, add some pieces, make some trades, reorganize your roster, and then in 3 or 4 years, then maybe you're contending in the playoffs.
Yeah, I like your points there. I was originally going to disagree with you in terms of you saying that I thought you were going to say that it wasn't a good place for him to go because of those same issues, and I do think those issues will still exist. But as you talked about, I like Joe Douglas, what he's doing there. They hire Robert Saleh. I think people are underrating a little bit this Jets franchise's future. I mean, this team. I mean, they just got Mekhi Becton. He's one of the best young left tackles in the NFL right now, which is very valuable for the Jets right now. Got a defense that's going to only continue to grow. You got Robert Saleh who's coming in there, and we've seen how destructive Adam Gase can be to a team. So, Robert Saleh is going to be much better. And you got a ton of cap space, and as you said, they have the ammunition to go out and get a guy like Deshaun Watson. And I agree with you that they're not going to be able to win a Super Bowl in Deshaun Watson's first year with the Jets. But I think that's okay for the Jets. I mean, you're not going to every day be able to go out and get a guy like Deshaun Watson. So if the Jets feel like they can go out and get him, they should get him. And I do think they're one of the teams that can get him. But as you mentioned, they're not a team that's going to win a Super Bowl the first year. But they are a team that can get their guy, continue to build around him. It's looking like a better organization right now than the Texans were. It's a mess in Houston. So I think that it would be a solid place for him to go. Do you have anything else to add for the Jets there, Ev?
No, not really. I mean, a trade package, the question for Houston is, would you want Sam Darnold when you're getting Deshaun Watson? Would you want to flip him with a ton of draft picks? But I don't know what Houston wants.
Yeah, I think that, as you said, that package could go a lot of ways, depending on, as you said, what Houston wants. But one thing is for sure, Jets are one of the teams that does have the ammunition to go out and get a guy like Deshaun Watson, but they aren't necessarily a team that could win a Super Bowl right away, and maybe that's what Deshaun Watson wants. But the second team that we're going to be talking about is a team that I think, I said it, they could go out and win a Super Bowl if they got Deshaun Watson. And that's the Miami Dolphins. And I talked about this in an Instagram post that I made a week or two ago. And I said that if the Miami Dolphins were able to acquire Deshaun Watson, I would pick them to win the Super Bowl next year. And I talked about this because, I mean, one, this team has the assets. They're right now behind the Jets, I believe, the second odds-on favorite to go out and get Deshaun Watson. They have the ammunition. They've got the third pick in this year's draft. And they've also got, I believe it's the 18th pick in this year's draft. So they have the picks. They've got another young quarterback in Tua Tagovailoa that I'm sure the Texans might have some interest in. So they have the ammunition, as we talked about, to go out and get a guy like that. But they're also one of the few teams that has that ammunition that can also go out and win a Super Bowl next year. I mean, this Miami team, they really turn things around. I mean, look at Brian Flores, the culture he's built in Miami, that defense. And I know the offense is not, the pieces are not great. The offensive line is not fantastic. The weapons are not fantastic either. But I mean, we look at what Deshaun Watson just dealt with, a terrible, head coaching situation. And weapons, I mean, they were fine, but he didn't really have an offensive line. And he led that offense to be one of the more explosive passing offenses in the NFL. So I think Deshaun Watson could come into Miami, turn this offense into an offense that you actually could be scared of, and a defense, you have a defense that's one of the best in the NFL. So I think this team could be very scary. So I like this. I would love to see Deshaun Watson go to the Miami Dolphins. I think this is my favorite place for him. I would love to see him here. I think this team would be a contender immediately with Deshaun Watson. What do you think of?
Yeah, if they got Deshaun Watson, to me, they'd probably be co-favorites in the AFC alongside the Kansas City Chiefs. Because right now, the weakness of the football team, and Spencer, we talked about this, the internet got a little bit sensitive, got a little bit mad at us for saying that the Dolphins should get rid of Tua and draft a quarterback, but Deshaun Watson would be better than drafting a quarterback because we saw the defense. Phenomenal in every way. That was one of the three best defenses in the league. Offensively, there's some nice pieces there. Devontae Parker, Mike Gesicki. So Tua had stuff to work with. But Deshaun Watson, he elevates the offense. He makes plays on his own. He makes plays when there's nothing there to be had. And if they had a guy that was making plays when there was nothing there to be had, they would have definitely been in the playoffs last year. And there's a chance they could still be alive in the playoffs as we speak in the AFC Championship game. So Deshaun Watson would be a massive addition for Miami.
I agree. So we share the same sentiment there. I mean, the Dolphins, I would agree with you. I think they would be in a position to compete with the Chiefs. They've got the explosiveness that Deshaun Watson brings to an offense, plus that defense. It would be a very, very scary thing for the rest of the league. They'd be set up very well for the future. I mean, young Deshaun Watson and a young team that's only going to continue to get better. So I would love that pickup for the Dolphins. As you said, it would be even better than drafting a quarterback, which we said they should do. And their weakness on their team right now is Tua. So, or quarterback in general. So I like that. I would like that a lot. I think that is my favorite trade destination for Deshaun Watson. I think that would really shake up the league next year. They'd be immediate contenders. And then another team that I think is in a similar boat is the San Francisco 49ers. Evan, do you have any opinion on a Deshaun Watson trade to the 49ers?
Yeah, well, that would be big for the 49ers, obviously. Now, Jimmy Garoppolo, he's somewhere around the 20th to 25th best quarterback in the football right now. Tua isn't even there, so I think it would be a bigger upgrade for Miami than San Francisco.
Yep.
But Garoppolo hasn't been able to stay healthy, hasn't been able to stay on the field. Now, the only thing I question is, with that Kyle Shanahan offense, it's easy for a guy like Garoppolo, who's not an elite quarterback by any means, to look good, to execute the throws, execute the offense well. I don't know if that offense will really be maximized as much as it could be when you add a playmaking quarterback like Deshaun Watson. For example, Andy Reid's offense, that allows you to run around and make plays on your own. Kyle Shanahan's offense, It's more built on easy completions, easy throws. So I don't think Deshaun Watson would be as big of an upgrade for San Francisco as Miami, but they'd definitely be in the conversation of best team in the NFC if they were able to acquire Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was going to say right before you said that. I was going to say I would pick this team to go to the Super Bowl in the NFC. I mean, we look at what's going on over there. I mean, you got the Seahawks, who, I don't know, they've had some shakiness in terms of their offense. There's Russell Wilson, but their defense has struggled a little bit. We don't really know. The Saints, their cap situation is a nightmare. Drew Brees is going to be gone. The Rams, I don't really trust Jared Goff. So, I mean, the Packers, we know Aaron Rodgers, they're always going to be a threat. But, I mean, we know this San Francisco team made the Super Bowl 2 years ago with Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, they were derailed by injuries. It was not a usual, typical season. This is not going to be the regular season for the 49ers. They've got Kyle Shanahan, all these guys are going to get healthy next year. And then you add Deshaun Watson, who I agree with you. He's not going to elevate an offense quite to the point that he would on the Dolphins because, on the Dolphins, they would fully use Deshaun Watson's ability. And I don't know how much they would fully maximize what Deshaun Watson can do in the 49ers system. And Jimmy Garoppolo can do just enough in that system. But there would be several plays throughout the game that Deshaun Watson would make that just simply Jimmy Garoppolo could not make. And I think that would be the difference in winning a Super Bowl for the 49ers. When we just think about it, Jimmy Garoppolo 2 Super Bowls ago missed a touchdown that was, that could have won them the game. Do you think Deshaun Watson's going to miss that throw? So just little things like that, plays all throughout the game that Deshaun Watson can make. I think that I would pick the 49ers to make the Super Bowl at least if they were able to acquire Deshaun Watson, just because, you look at the rest of the NFC, I think they could be a dangerous team next year. So, yeah. Any other thoughts on that, Ev? Or
Yeah, just to be clear on that point, Kyle Shanahan, a lot of easy completions. And if you're just having the quarterback do a lot of easy completions, you don't need an elite quarterback to do that. Garoppolo can do that fine, but I agree. It's those few plays Deshaun Watson will make that will elevate that team's ceiling.
Yeah. So those were the 3 teams that I thought were, the first 3 teams I wanted to talk about. Evan, did you have any other major teams that you thought would be the best fitting spots for him?
Not that I can think of right now. New Orleans, they don't have enough money to do that. That's not happening. I think Miami, that would just be such a great spot for him. They have draft picks. They have Tua if the Texans wanted him. And they're a quarterback away. So Miami's clearly the best spot for me.
Yep, I agree. I think I could see a couple other teams. Maybe the Panthers want to make a move on him. The Bears. One of those teams, maybe we can see Deshaun Watson go back to the Bears, even though the Bears could have had him 3 years ago if they just, did not pick Mitch Trubisky.
But I don't know if the Bears have the draft capital to go out and get him. I don't think they do.
I agree with that. So there's a lot of other players, but I think the 3 teams we just talked about, I think, are teams that could certainly make a move, especially the Jets and the Dolphins. I think those teams are the teams that have the most things to play with, pieces to offer that I think the Texans would be, very interested in. So I think that those would be the 3 teams that I would like to see Deshaun Watson go to the most. And I think where he would make the most immediate impact.